All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Bates, and I'm the Vice President of Phi Epsilon Kappa. We wanted the sport management students to have the opportunity to ask questions about what recent alumni are doing in the field right now. Thank you to our panelists for taking the time tonight to talk with our students. So Matt graduated from Brockport in 2020 with a sport management major and minors in business administration and marketing. He currently serves as administrative GA with the athletic department at Western New England University. He is pursuing his master's in sport leadership and coaching. Nick graduated from Brockport in 2019 with dual bachelor's degree in sport management and business administration. He is currently pursuing an MBA with a concentration in marketing at Canisius College, and he is the external affairs graduate assistant in their athletic department. Riley graduated from Brockport in 2020 with bachelor's degree in sport management. He is getting his master's in sports administration at Boston College. And starting this June, he will be the director of baseball operations for Boston College. So now I'm going to pass it off to Amanda.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Kind of as we're going along, if anybody comes up with any questions that they want to ask themselves, please feel free to either unmute yourself toward the end or put those questions in the chat. So the first thing I'm going to ask, and I'm going to start with Matt, is can you tell us a little bit about your current position and your responsibilities?
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So currently I serve as the athletics administration graduate assistant at Western New England University, which is a small D3 private school within the CCC out in Springfield, Massachusetts. Within my role, I oversee everything that goes along with the athletic department itself, including business processes and budgeting, compliance, event management, ticket operations, equipment management, the list goes on and on. To go off of that, I've been here since August of 2020. So that's been about 8 months now. And so far, it's been a very great experience to my knowledge, and super thankful for the opportunity that was presented in front of me last spring.
Awesome. Nick, same thing. Tell us a little bit about your current position.
Yeah, so like mentioned, I'm an external affairs GA for Canisius College. In a typical year, not a COVID year, I would be responsible for kind of like all of the marketing initiatives towards fans. Now that's not a reality right now. So my job kind of got switched a little bit, and I've actually helped out a lot with fundraising, and then a lot on the COVID end as far as making sure all of our athletes are getting tested, all of our staff is getting tested, recording that so the NCAA has that data. Fortunately enough, I've got to work a lot closer with our assistant AD and athletic director than most of the GAs in years past because of COVID. So a lot of what my job is now is centered around COVID, but as we're getting fans back a little bit more, we are starting to do a little bit more marketing initiatives. So some halftime promotions, some giveaways, different things like that.
Thanks. Riley, same thing.
Yeah, so currently I'm a operations assistant with Boston College baseball. So most of my duties fall in terms of, we do a lot of analytical scouting of opponents. So I'll be in charge of that during games. I'll assist our director of baseball operations with food and logistics for traveling and hotels. And then once we get on the road, I'm in charge of communicating with the visitors, or I guess we're the visitors, the home team, that where we're going to, set up practice times, take care of our laundry after the games, things like that.
Awesome, thanks. So next question, not specifically anybody has to answer, whoever wants to. Where did you complete your practicums when you were an undergraduate student here at Brockport? And how do you feel that those enhance your education?
Nick, you want to go first?
Sure, I can touch on that. Yeah, so
Sure.
I did my first one with Brockport Athletics, right, with Nate. And then my second one I did actually down in Washington, D.C. over the summer. I was able to do that. That was a pretty cool opportunity. I did that with American University, with their athletics department. Actually, a lot of similar stuff that I do now in external affairs. Basically, I was helping build out all of their promotional pieces that they were going to then present to their sponsors to try and get them to re-up their deals, and then also to kind of increase their sales. And then my third one, I did, I'm trying to think now. My third one I did with Susan, and I helped out a lot with SAC. So that, and I did Yards of Yardley, was one of my big projects that I'd helped with. So yeah, those are the three that I did.
Matt, you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. So my first practicum, ironically, was with Nate Bull and Scott Karachi, who was a GA at the time, basically working home contests and events. My second GA, I was able to work with Brockport's administration team, specifically with Danny Drews and Eric Hart. And my third practicum was actually with Nick Pagano at Canisius College out in Buffalo. And I did a lot with in-game marketing and promotions.
Yeah, so I took through my practicum. I tried to get as broad of an experience as I could, just because I wasn't sure which route I wanted to go yet. So the first one I ended up doing with Susan Hoffman, our assistant athletic director, working for Yards for Yardley, working with her, setting that up. And then my second one I was able to do while I was actually playing summer baseball. I was an assistant for the media team for the Virginia Beach Collegiate Baseball League. So I was in charge of like social media, public address announcing, things like that. And then my third one, I mean, I got about 2 weeks in before COVID kind of canceled it. I was an assistant in the office for Brockport High School athletic director, just trying to be able to learn what it takes to truly be an AD at every level. So.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Another one, kind of whoever wants to answer first. What was your second program of study? So rather it be study abroad, a second major, or a minor, and why did you choose to pursue that?
Yeah, I'll start it off again. So I kind of chose my MBA rather than athletic administration, really for no more reason than, since I'm working in college athletics and I'm working a lot with administration, I felt like I was going to get a pretty good idea of what it took to be a college administrator and kind of learn the ins and outs of kind of just athletic administration in general. So I always saw myself kind of potentially pursuing opportunities, in sport, but also outside of sport, and with a company that also had ties to athletics, kind of i.e. marketing, which is kind of what I'm doing now and what I did with a lot of my practicum experiences. So that was kind of why I ended up choosing my major, and then my minor, kind of again self-explanatory, was in marketing. Something in particular that caught my eye at Canisius was digital marketing, and especially with COVID, human interaction is kind of kind of not a thing right now, fan engagement. So digital marketing is kind of becoming really, really big, and there's a huge market for that.
I'll go next. I'll go again. So obviously my major was sport management. Going into Brockport, when I was going through high school, I mean, I've always had a love for sports, always had an interest, and I never knew specifically what I wanted to do right away in terms of the aspect of sport management itself. With that in mind, I think going to Brockport and, receiving a sport management degree was probably the greatest thing that probably ever happened up to this point in my career. And Brockport ultimately shaped the way I wanted to go in the route of sport management, which ultimately is college athletics. With that in mind, my two minors were business administration and marketing. With that, I just want to keep an open mind and just get a broad understanding of, the business processes and marketing plans that go behind the scenes in college athletics that, like the fans in the stands don't really see right away or understand at that point. And, going through college athletics for these last 4 to 5 years, you learn the ins and outs of the whole operation, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So I think between combining the sport management major with those two minors was the perfect setup for me going further. And like I said, I wouldn't take that back.
Yeah, so I came into Brockport. My second study was a coaching degree, and I ended up completing most of it, and I ended up not having the time commitment to be able to complete the coaching practicum itself. So I ended up picking up a communication minor as well. And I think that was one of the best things I could have done, because as a future athletic administrator, being able to communicate with people is such a strong skill that a lot of people seem to not have anymore. Like in that communications degree, they do a lot of public speaking classes and a lot of writing stuff. So, I mean, I think it benefited me great being able to learn how to actually because I've always been a pretty good talker, but now it's been, as soon as I say that, I can't get my words out, of course. Being being a good talker and then be able to like harness everything into like a specific like focus and how to get your words out properly. Of course I do that. Never fails.
So my next question is, in what ways do you think that studying sport management at Brockport prepared you for your future career in athletic administration or sport management, or kind of where you are now?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start it off again. Really, I think one of the big things with the sport management program was the practicums and then the exit internship. Ultimately, those kind of led me into college athletics in general. I was working as a work study student for the athletics department prior to, but having to do practicums, it also allowed me to get a lot of different experiences within college athletics that otherwise I wouldn't have. And in general, in the classes too, I made a lot of good connections with a lot of the professors that helped me kind of shape kind of who I am as a professional. One again being Nate, even though I never had a class with him, he was somebody that at Brockport that I worked pretty closely with as far as building management. So Brockport sport management really shaped me entirely as a professional, I would say.
Yeah, so to go off of what Nick just said right there, I completely agree with the points you just hit. The 3 practicums that you have to do throughout the program are essential and super beneficial. As long as you put the time and effort to learn from them and to grow as a person, you're going to see results for sure. Another big thing for me going through the sport management program at Brockport was the connections and the people I met. Like Nick said, Nate Bull, like he was a super important person to me at my time with Brockport. I see Mark Chang's in the crowd too, so he was important. Schneider, Dr. Schneider, he was super important. The list goes on and on. Eric Hart, Danny Drew, Susan Hoffman, like all those people are like, they've been through a lot and they just understand the industry itself, and they're good people to just, you know, to get to know them and to connect with them for sure.
Yeah, and just kind of building off of all that, like the networking you make at Brockport is so crucial, so like crucial and so critical that you don't really realize it until you get out of Brockport. That like, so I came to BC kind of almost flying blind. Like I knew I wanted to go to BC's, but I didn't really know anybody. So I was getting into it. And then one of my first coaches, who was only a coach at Brockport with me for like 4 or 5 months, knew the baseball coach here at BC, called him up for me on my behalf. Like just having that network in my corner ended up getting me into the baseball program here with them. And now I'm the director of baseball ops. So like that networking opportunity at Brockport, if you take advantage of it, truly is one of the best around in any program, really.
Absolutely. So all 3 of you kind of touched in the beginning on your GA positions that you currently have. So my next question would be kind of walk us through how you ended up in that position, how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so I had actually applied to a lot of different places for graduate assistantships. Working so closely with the GAs for Brockport Athletics, I kind of knew that I wanted to be a GA pretty much from my sophomore year at Brockport on. So my senior year, I applied to school, you know, Seton Hall, I applied for a GA-ship. I applied to one at Kentucky. I applied to one with UB. I even talked about staying on board at Brockport in a different role. I looked into RIT, and then ultimately, ironically, one of my big points kind of, I actually just reached out to Canisius kind of on a whim. I really hadn't even looked much into their website as far as their GA ships. Didn't even see a job posting at the time, but I just kind of emailed their secretary and I was like, hey, do you guys have GA ships and who's responsible for them? Would you be able to put me in contact with that person? And ultimately, here I am today, kind of, you know, being the GA at Canisius. So kind of to my point is, don't be afraid to kind of just go out on a limb and apply to a bunch of different places, because you may think you have something in the bag and then ultimately that thing falls through. And COVID teaches you anything that, you know, nothing is certain. So that would definitely be my my recommendation.
Yeah, so with my GA experience going through the whole process of searching for a position, it was interesting because COVID was just, you know, reaching its peak back in March, and through the summer, like everyone understands the impact it had on the sport industry. And along with that came hiring freezes for college athletics, and you know, people were timid in terms of posting jobs and applications. A big tool was NCAA Job Market. If you guys don't know what that is, I highly suggest looking that up and researching that. As far as GA ships and positions, my job kind of just fell right in my lap. So I only applied to 2 positions. I applied to UAlbany. They were posting an event management and operations graduate assistantship. And then later I found out that they never even hired anyone for that position. So obviously I didn't get that position. And then for my current job, it kind of just happened. So Catherine Delaney, who is the event coordinator currently at Brockport, she forwarded me an email back in May of 2020. And it was a job posting from the Commonwealth Coastal Conference from WNE, who was looking for an athletics administration position. And she was like, this position is perfect for you. You should 100% apply. I think you'd be a great fit for their department. So I reached out, I applied, uploaded the resume, the cover letter, all the references, did my interview, and I got accepted. But obviously, like I said, like my biggest point was that through the pandemic, it was super challenging to find a GA position, let alone a position itself in sport management. So super thankful that that opportunity came upon itself, and I just took advantage of it going further.
Yeah, so for me, it kind of goes off of what Nick said. It's like I kind of thought I knew where I was going to go, and then just throwing a flyer out there kind of fell in my lap as well. So I had applied to SUNY Cortland for their sport management masters. I was thinking about going back to Brockport, and then one of my friends lived in Boston, so I went out here to visit and took a tour of BC, and just it was like one of those. It's like, oh my god, like I need to be here, like moment. So I applied, didn't hear anything. Their process was really long, and ended up getting in, and it was like I have to go. And then that networking, like I said earlier, at Brockport came back into handy, got me in touch with the baseball coach here. Started out as doing all the grunt work, like for them, for the coaching staff, like catching bullpens, just literally that was it. And then you show your work ethic and things just start to take over from there. And the more and more you do that, here I am, as I said, the director of baseball operations starting in June. So it's like that whole thing. It's like you never know what's going to happen until it does. And that was basically me. Like it kind of fell in my lap and just the rest was up to me. It just took over from there.
What are your future career plans? So once you have your grad degree, kind of if you thought at all about what you'd like to do next.
Yeah, so actually, this is weird timing. On Monday, I actually accepted a job down in North Carolina at, ironically, the marketing firm that I did my exit internship with. So that kind of goes to show you that always take advantage of the opportunities that you end up getting and make the most of them. So I'll be doing a lot on the digital marketing side, like I had mentioned. That was definitely a point of interest that I have. And I will be doing a lot with events there. And they have a lot of different sports clients. They work closely with the Hornets, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Charlotte Knights, which is a minor league baseball team down there. They're doing a project right now for the Atlanta Braves, doing something with the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to be doing stuff. So they have a lot of different sports connections, but we also have a lot of different clients like Coca-Cola, Jack Daniels, people like that. So that's where I'll be headed. June 7th is my start date there. So yeah, I'm really excited for that opportunity, kind of get to put everything that I've learned over the last 6 years and kind of apply it, and this time get to make some actual money. As a lot of you know, being an undergrad student and being a grad student gets even more. You don't have a lot of money, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, so my future plans, I'm still here under contract through WNE for another year for my second graduate assistantship year. Ultimately, I want to stick with college athletics. I love it. Specifically, if I can be an event coordinator and operations guy, that would be fantastic. I kind of fell in love with it back to my Brockport days. Ironically, through WNE Athletics, our past game ops and equipment manager, he accepted a job at UConn, which is his alma mater. So we have a huge vacant right there. And along with my administrative GA role, I've been helping out in that aspect, which kind of goes along with, like I said, my Brockport days. Like I did a lot with events and facilities. So it kind of, I was able to step up and just be that guy to fill that role. So there's a potential chance I might be filling that void. But like I said, I'm trying to do my thing. I'm just trying to get through the semester and we'll see what happens going into the summer, into next year.
Yeah, so for me, starting my new position in June, it's pretty much like a year-long job, and then post following that in 2022, I'm hoping to get a job working in either minor league baseball or with a professional baseball team in their front office somewhere. As I said, you got to start small, so hopefully, getting somewhere and be like a minor league coordinator, setting up with technology, kind of similar to the same role I'm doing now, but again, getting paid, which is always the best part, getting that real money. So hopefully that's following my job next year. So.
Awesome. Congratulations, Nick, on the new job. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
What advice do you guys have for undergraduate students?
Yeah, so something, I was a supervisor for the athletics department my last couple of years at Brockport, and I worked with a lot of the kids, and something that I always preached was, take advantage and go outside of your comfort zone and take advantage of all the opportunities that you can, whether that's, internships, shadowing, practicums, whatever that may be. Because again, I'm a perfect example. You never know what opportunity is ultimately going to lead to your, maybe your profession. Something that I always tell people too is, with all the different experiences that you get, sometimes you learn what you don't want to do as opposed to what you do want to do. So, you get an internship in marketing, you don't like it. Okay, well, you can check that off the box. You get something in facilities, you don't like that, you can check that off the box. So you can kind of keep narrowing that down until you find a profession that you really enjoy. And that's kind of something that, the sport management field is so broad. It's very tight knit, but it's so broad. You can do so many different things. So getting as much opportunity in a bunch of different fields, that just makes you all that more marketable.
Completely agree with Nick. 100%. All the points you just made are, phenomenal. I was also an event staff supervisor with Nick. We worked together for a year. I'm super thankful I met him. He's a great resource to know. But like you said, like just, pick as many people's brains apart, like meet as many people as you can, find out where they came from, find out their backgrounds. Just have conversations, introduce yourself, be polite, just do your job. Like Nick said, get involved, connect. If, you're working, let's, for example, say you're doing a Brockport home event and you have the opportunity to, shadow a scoreboard or a shot clock or something, with an administrative role, do it. Just go out there and present yourself and be presentable. That's the most important thing you can do going further in this industry. And also, like Nick said, sport management is such a broad industry, and it's important to understand what you do like and what you don't like for sure. And you're just going to find out along the way, especially through the practicums, what you do and don't like going further and throughout your career for sure.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is, especially in this field, it's so network driven. Meet as many people as you can. You'd be very surprised. People don't think this actually works, but it really does. Send out flyer emails to a bunch of people, and they actually will respond about introduction meetings. Ask them how they got to their field, like what advice you can have. Second thing I've always want to say is the worst anybody can ever tell you is no. Just keep applying, keep reaching out to people. The worst they don't do, they don't respond. You just move on. But if you may find that one person that lands you a job. It really is that simple. It takes one person. And just don't ever limit yourself. So like, don't ever think about, I know this is hard for a lot of people, but especially in this field, you got to go where the job is. So don't ever like try to even limit yourself to a state or a region. Look across the country, find a job. If you found a job in Seattle and you're the best candidate and they want to hire you, go for it. Don't ever limit yourself in that aspect of life either.
Great, thanks guys. So that was kind of the last question that we had for tonight. So we're going to open the floor to anybody that might have additional questions, anything you want to know. So feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? My boys.
How's it going,
Okay,
Doctor?
so
Hey, Dr. Chang.
yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Great.
Doing great.
Yeah, you guys are looking so great. Oh my God. Okay, so I have a question. So you guys said really good things about our sport management program, but I just wonder if you have any suggestions that our program can be more, like powerful. And then, so is there any like suggestions you guys have?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, that's tough. A lot of what we did at Brockport, I use as a model here at Canisius.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like
Yeah.
all the stuff I preach, that's what I say to my student workers for game ops. Like everything from that I learned at Brockport and what I've been saying so far tonight. It's the model. It's the way to do it.
Yeah, I think it's a really great program. Like, to be honest, and that's just not just me saying it because I graduated from it.
Right.
Like it's,
Right.
I think it's a great one. And I mean, personally, unless we say it's not broken, I'd keep it going. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. I wish I can have you guys in my class.
Yeah, sorry we didn't have more for you there.
I know.
Good.
Just a little bit of housekeeping here. We have a question in the chat in regards to trying to balance gaining experience during the summer versus, needing to make money to be able to pay for school and other expenses. I know we've got Dr. Chang with us. I know we got Professor Bull with us as well. So pretty open floor. Any thoughts or recommendations on trying to balance gaining experience, working for free versus, hey, I need money in my pocket?
Yeah, that one's a tough one because everybody, you need to be able to pay for your schooling or your housing because not everybody's different. I would talk to them, see if they can almost kind of walk you through parts of it. Like have a Zoom meeting and just talk about hey, what do you do on game days, and just talk things out. Cause sometimes you can't always be there, but you still want to get that experience. I know the hands-on experience at the end of the day is still the best thing, but it's better than nothing really.
Yeah, just be open and honest with your current situation, like Riley said, just reach out to them and, explain, your current situation and let them understand what's happening, outside of what they're asking for you to do. And maybe you guys can come to an agreement for sure.
Yeah, and I would definitely go to them with the opportunities that you already have in place. So say, hey, my availability is XYZ. This is what I'd like to do. What can you do for me, type of thing. What can I give you in this time? What can I learn?
Sue, you had your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yes, I was just wondering for the three of you, if you have any regrets. Is there anything that you felt that you should have done, any opportunity you should have capitalized on while you were here that would have better prepared you for where you are now?
I want to
I'll
lead
let
off on that one.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I'll
wanna
let the two that were affected by COVID at Brockport lead it.
I wish I took it in a little bit more instead of, just dealing with the day-to-day aspects of what was required of me regarding, my education and my responsibilities within Brockport athletics. As we all know, the COVID pandemic shut everything down so quickly, and I had a lot of time to think about what I could have done with my time at Brockport. And I wish I just sat back and just understood what was actually happening in front of my eyes. And I wish I just took it all in and just appreciated just a little bit more about the position I was put in within Brockport athletics.
That's such a good question because I was pretty involved with Brockport athletics, playing baseball, being SAC president and conference SAC and everything like that. I mean, to be honest, completely, my one regret would not have, it's kind of weird, but my one regret was not taking up a business minor, trying to put myself a little ahead of that category. I took the communication route and I'm grateful for that, but there was semesters where I definitely could have taken more classes and I felt comfortable with. So I wish I would have picked up a business minor just to be able to learn the financial side and how to correlate it with athletics a little bit more.
Yeah, for me, I did get a full experience there, and I did feel like I kind of networked real well with with all the different people in all the different departments. Probably one thing, I guess, more in particular to my experience with the athletics department was I wish I would have gotten a little more administrative experience. I did so much with events and event ops, and I helped out with SAC and different things like that. But I would have loved to learn how to create NCAA bids or how to, sit in on coaches meetings, different things like that. A lot of the different administrative tasks that Danny and Eric do day to day, because I would have been able to apply that directly to what I'm doing now, since I am an administrative assistant. So that would maybe be my only regret if I had one.
Great, thanks, guys.
Any other questions from anybody?
I got another one. Okay, so in your preparations for graduate school and trying to get obviously a GA that helps pay that tuition, any suggestions that have not been mentioned that you would give to the current students at Brockport that are watching you here tonight?
Yeah, I can lead that one off. So in the case of my program of study, I was super lucky and thankful in that. So with my GA-ship, they pay for 3 classes a semester, so six classes total each year. And my graduate program is 45 credits, which if you do the math, technically that doesn't add up to them paying for all of the credits. So because I was a business major though at Brockport and had a bunch of classes, they actually exempt me from 4 classes, which allowed me to not pay out of pocket. And one thing that I even wish I did is I wish I would have taken like another class to give me that exemption in even more classes. So if you're thinking about going to grad school and you're thinking about whatever program of study that you're doing, I would contact that school and say, hey, do you accept these classes as equivalents to what you're offering? Because ultimately it's going to reduce your workload. And if you're a GA, it's only going to increase your experience with your GA-ship because you're going to be able to put all of your time and effort towards your job. Not that school isn't important, but obviously as a GA, you want to get as much experience as you can with the job that you're doing. So having a less workload in school would definitely help.
Yeah, a lot of good points right there, Nick. With my GA position, I actually have my entire degree paid for. It's a full ride, and it's a 30 credit program in sport leadership and coaching. So that's great stuff. Super thankful for that. And then on top of that, I receive a $6,000 stipend. So, in terms of paying for outside expenses outside of athletics, it's manageable. You just, you gotta make sure you just budget correctly, I would say. But there's all sorts of GA positions out there and they all offer different types of incentives. So like I said, just don't be afraid to reach out, branch out, and connect with everyone that comes across you. And don't be afraid to just, go across the country and try something new. Like just don't yourself to one particular state or region, because there's other people out there that are, fighting for the same jobs that you're fighting for. And you have to be super open within this industry. And that's the most important thing that you could probably do.
Yeah, like definitely just look into everything. Like I'm gonna put in the chat here 3 different websites. They're like they post jobs for everything in sports marketing. It's NACTA, COSIDA, and then NCAA Marketplace. Like that was definitely the one thing that I definitely wish I could take an advantage more. I knew about the NCAA Marketplace, but like that's only one website. There's still so many other things for it. So I'm gonna put that right there. That's definitely one thing I should have done better going to grad school. So I'm hoping you guys do better than I did.
Great, guys, thanks.
One more time, any other questions? All right, well, I just want to thank everyone again for joining us tonight, especially our panelists. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of a view into your life past your time in Brockport.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Amanda has my contact info too. If any of you guys are interested in internships in the Charlotte area, reach out to me and I can see what I can do with my company.
Yeah.
It's called Red Moon Marketing. So I can put a link in the chat as well if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat too in case it doesn't happen. But if you're ever in Boston and you need something or have any questions, feel free to let me know as well.
Yeah, same here. If any of you are trying to go out to Massachusetts, Springfield, Mass, small private D3 private school, it's a great opportunity. We actually have some positions opening up in terms of graduate assistantships. If you're interested in communications, we'll be posting that job posting very shortly. I'll leave my email in the chat as well. So please feel free to reach out to me and connect if you wish. Just be open, guys, and just, branch yourselves out there going further.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.